turn to those live pictures coming into us from Gaza following reports of an Israeli airstrike on a hospital in central Gaza. The health ministry in Gaza is reporting that there have been 500 casualties in that Israeli airstrike.
We don't have any internet, we don't have any kind of signals on our phones. The Gaza Strip has turned to be an isolated spot from the world. The world now cannot no longer follow what is happening on the ground.
Over 200 children and parents staged a demonstration, obstructing roads and the Conservative Party headquarters, followed by the delivery of an open letter to 10 Downing Street. The letter urges Rishi Sunak to endorse a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and has garnered the signature of over 12,000 parents. This protest took place on the day Parliament discussed a ceasefire in Gaza and to end the Israeli occupation of Gaza and the West Bank. The scroll-bound open letter explicitly calls on the government to seize UK arms sales to the Israeli state, employ diplomatic means to secure an immediate ceasefire, and actively pursue a lasting peace, ultimately bringing an end to Israel's occupation of Palestine.
We dance together, we dance together. Stop the occupation. We march together. We march together. We march together. Stop the occupation. We sing together. We sing together. We sing together. Stop the occupation. Stop the occupation. Stop the occupation. Stop the occupation.
So this is the time of the year when we talk around you about peace and goodwill to all. We are supposed to have called it the festival. We are supposed to have what is called the festive spirit this year, but it could not be more different. Our leaders are anxious to prevent us from hearing the truth about what is going on and what they are complicit in. They are part of the problem. That is why they want to silence us and prevent us from hearing the truth. Shame on them. Shame. We are all facing the most terrible violence that I can remember since I was a very small child. The Western world has blessed and armed a vengeful nation savagely to attack a defenseless people. We are watching atrocious actions happen in real times. These coffins tell us what the world is willing to do to the children of Palestine. This is the greatest shame and despicable action I can ever remember. Shame on them. Yeah. Parents and children, all here, teachers, adults, we want to protect and safeguard our children. We want our children to grow up before they have to confront the evil that exists in this world. But this year is different. We cannot protect our children, our own children, but what is happening to the children of Gaza is far beyond the realms of barbarity, and it is so hard for words to convey.
Over 500 constituents demonstrated outside the offices of their local MP, Wes Streeting, the Shadow Health Secretary, and a rising star in the Labour Party. Residents in Ilford, East London, were angry at his continued refusal to call for a ceasefire. and more generally at the Labour Party's stance on the ongoing killing of civilians in Gaza by the Israeli military. They vowed to make their votes count at the ballot box in next year's general election, and this follows a survey by the Muslim Census that showed that just 5% of Muslim voters would support Labour at a general election, down from 78% in previous surveys. Organisers say the local Muslim community is horrified at Labour leader Keir Starmer's initial statements that appear to prove the siege on Gaza by Israel. They went on to say that his latest statements demonstrate a failure of the Labour Party to take a clear stance against the massive bombing campaign of Gaza by the Israeli military, which UN agencies claim may amount to genocide.
Why are you protesting today?
I'm here today with some of my friends and colleagues to protest and to take issue with the still treating about going along with at least advocating that we should have a ceasefire right now.
Because I'm so moved by the genocide that's taking place.
I'm protesting because I'm a proud Palestinian and I believe severe injustice is happening in Palestine right now.
I think it's fairly obvious to anyone who's got a soul and some humanity why we're protesting. We just want a ceasefire and end this bloodshed of the Palestinian people.
I want to protest to say that West Streeting is supporting a war crime and a genocide. It's really, really important that ordinary people on the street, like myself, come out and say to the Labour Party, if you want to be the next government, Keir Starmer wants to be the next Prime Minister, then what's got to happen is that they have got to call for a ceasefire now. If they'd have done that 2 or 3 weeks ago, thousands of children, men and women would still be alive in Gaza today.
And are you upset by Labour's position on the conflict?
I feel what the Conservatives do is abhorrent, but what Labour are doing is equally abhorrent. We're very hurt by the stance that they've taken, which is completely inhumane when they're not even calling for a ceasefire. That is a sign of an inhumane party. So yes, I'm very hurt by Labour's position.
Oh, absolutely. There seems to be no equality, there seems to be no voice for the Palestinian people. For the inhumane bombing that's taking place, there's no justice. The Labour Party needs to speak up for its supporters.
I think that Labour has blood on their hands and I think many Labour MPs need to call for a ceasefire immediately and stop being silent about the atrocities that are going on right now in Gaza.
Well, I wanted to stand up, be counted, It may be a policy of his party, absolutely something different, but he represents the positions of the Ilford North. I mean, if he needs to take a view of what we will be stunned for. So I want him to change his mind, and what his party members tell him to stand with us.
When you say us, do you mean the Muslims of this area?
This area and humanity as a whole. What's happening in Palestine right now is against all kinds of international norms, and he should stand by that.
What do you want West Streeting to do?
Well, he says one thing on a one-to-one basis and he says another thing in public. He needs to be honest. He needs to ask himself the question, whose side is he on? It's not about side, he's on the side of humanity.
Have a voice, use your voice and stand up for justice.
West Streeting needs to know, look at his constituency, who he represents, then decide, using his conscience, what side of humanity he stands on. And I want to send a message to West Streeting. If he thinks the Muslim community is just going to vote for him blindly, he's got nothing coming. Next election, call it on. And West Streeting, we will not be supporting you if you continue with this stance behind your leader, Keir Starmer, where you are basically supporting inhumanity and you have no backbone to speak out and call for a ceasefire.
Tell me what brings you out on a very cold Saturday morning in London? For standing up for injustice and standing up for the Palestinian people and the misery that they're going through. And to raise awareness in my local community, Redbridge.
I mean, personally, from being Palestinian myself, I genuinely feel for the Palestinians, and I think that people won't stop until we have a free Palestine.
The main reason for us anyway is in Ilford North we've got an MP, West Streeting, who did not call for a ceasefire, despite his constituency largely being made up of Muslims. So we're going to put pressure on him. We did demos outside his office, and we're not going to stop until we unseat him. He's crossed the red line, and for us the red line is the killing of innocent children. And inshallah, the next general election, we're going to make sure that we try and replace him.
The people of Gaza have got bombs raining down on them. This is nothing, you know, even if it was snowing, raining, we would be here. But this is not just about the bombs in Gaza. This is about the illegal occupation of all the Palestinian lands.
Settlers who are absolutely annihilating the West Bank at the moment.
Both the government and the opposition leader have said they want humanitarian pauses. Secretary Blinken says he's trying to get more of a longer pause. Do you think that's a solution?
No, I don't really. I think they need to stop the bombing. Stop it now, basically. I don't know what this pause means, basically. A temporary stop? Yeah. It's not a solution, is it? It's just putting the inevitable off, basically. So I think they need to stop the bombing and stop it now and come up with a proper solution where people can live in peace and harmony together.
I'm heartbroken. I can't sleep at night. I can't get out the anger in me. I can't forgive the world for allowing this mass injustice and this much atrocity. I cannot believe the world leaders are sleeping in their beds while the children of Gaza are being slaughtered. I can't believe that Israel has broken 62 United Nations resolutions and the impotent, absolutely apathetic UN is sitting there and allowing Israel to contravene international decent law.
And it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that this borough, which has a very large Muslim population, that we haven't seen the politicians come out and support this demo. Well, actually, some of the independent councillors here have actually supported it.
That's good, but I'm talking about the Labour councillors. This is a Labour council, authority. So, but look, we have to continue to raise the issue. And yesterday the bombing started, and we have seen overnight 200 Palestinians die. This is genocide. Palestinians deserve the right for self-determination. Okay. They have the right to self-defense. Okay. And we must stand resolute.
Well, it seems that the governments of the world aren't, but certainly world public opinion it's now proved that they are firmly behind the Palestinian cause for justice. In terms of justice, what needs to be done? What do you think is the solution?
I think the solution, first of all, is for Israel to stop bombing them. Okay. Give them. All we're asking is for food, water, medicines, ambulances to be able to go through. Let the people in power realize that it's a basic humanitarian need that we are asking for. Nothing much, just for humanity. That is what the start is. After that, let the funds start going in. Let's start rebuilding Gaza. They need homes. They need shelter. It's going to start getting colder than it is here now. And what are they going to do? What are the people that are displaced going to do then? We're all wrapped up with hats, gloves, everything. And it's only -2 here. Yeah. It's going to be even more colder there. And they've got nothing. Okay. So they need to let the humanitarian aid get through first before we start rebuilding Gaza.
Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Never let you die! We will never let you die! We will never let you
100%. He's lost my vote. I will either not vote or find another party that speaks for me, because Labour doesn't, this current Labour leadership doesn't, John Cryer doesn't, and it's really too late for them to do anything about it now.
Do you think there's any other party where you could actually feel comfortable in voting for?
The only other party I can potentially consider voting for is the Green Party at this point, because they're the only ones that have consistently made statements in support of Palestine, or shall we just say unbiased for argument's sake, but Labour has definitely lost my vote.
The violence, we're asking for you to represent us, not Israel, not Hamas. We're asking you to represent us, because it's us who has to see innocent children being blown up on our phones, on our screens, because the BBC refused to show this, CNN refused to show this, so it's down to us to see what the Palestinians go through. Shame on the BBC, shame on CNN, shame on Sky News. We need to ask every single one of you, when there is a 20k majority, will we be voting for John Cryer in the 2024 elections? We have become politically homeless because no party represents us. Will we allow that? No. Will we hold our MPs to account? Yes. You need to join organisations, not just Impact UK, not just MEND, but there are organisations that are working to educate people. When they're scared of us having spreadsheets, boy, have we got a message for you. We've got more than a spreadsheet. We've got people who are awake to your crimes, and we're going to hold you, every single one of you, to account. Are you with me? Yes.
Last night there was a very, very important motion being tabled about Palestine and Gaza, asking for John to support a ceasefire now. This was debated very, very strongly, and the decision that we came to was that it was overwhelmingly passed. Yes. However, prior to the meeting, which John Cryer should have attended, the police were in attendance, so he had all the security he needed should he want it. But he didn't show. He was actually offered a place on a Zoom call, which other constituents who can't attend were on. But he shied off on that too. John Cryer, who's been my MP since he took office here in Leighton and Wanstead and Leytonstone, has fought for lots of things in the past, was on the left, but he's now an absolute traitor. He didn't represent people when he voted Brexit in this constituency, to be honest, but now he is actually not even representing us when we are calling for this genocide to stop, and to stop now. He is appeasing the right in the party, he is standing with Starmer, and he is doing what he wants. As he always does, he sits on the fence. He's got a cushy job as the Parliamentary Labour Party chair. It's easy to sit on the fence. It's about time he jumped over one side or the other. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. And we want to know the devil that's here representing us. So it's about time he stood up for the people here, stood up for what we want and what we represent.
So this evening, I wish to announce in front of you all that I'm resigned as a Labour Party member.
Palestine! Free! Palestine! Free! Palestine!
I will not support those who wish to continue supporting the killing for Palestinians. So I will now do as my constituents have long asked and joining the New Hamlet Independent. From today, I will join Councillor Mehboob Mirza, somewhere I respect and I have worked together with a local food bank. Finally, I plead with my former Labour Party colleague to free themselves from the Labour Party and join me as an independent councillor. And stand with the Palestinians and the killing. Ceasefire now. Long live Gaza, long live Palestine, free Palestine!
Free Palestine! Being a Labour Party member and being a chair of Green Street East Labour Party, I feel shame. And I cannot stand more than that, so I've decided to resigning from Labour Party from today. And I will also call upon Keir Starmer to step down and resign immediately.
So no one can divide us, no matter which background we come from. We come from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India. We all are united. And now we are going to stand together and we're going to call for a ceasefire and work together. No one can divide us. We all are one. Shame on Labour and shame on Labour.
Labour selling out the people on every single measure, not just Palestine. Palestine as many has come to a head, but before then, they are not fighting for services. They are implementing cuts. They are letting our health service die in front of our eyes. They are no longer sticking up for the people. They're not Labour anymore.
How difficult has it been to be a Labour Party Muslim councillor?
As I'm Muslim councillor 2014, I worked hard for the Labour Party since more than about 10 years. But when this difficult time in Gaza, I can see it's very hard for me. Since a couple of the weeks, I'm under pressure. I have a lot of email messages coming. I can't defend it for the community. This is very same for me. I'm a Muslim candidate and I can't do nothing. My hand is tied because all the leaders' statement they come out. I'm totally shocked for that.
How important is it for people that are in politics to make a stand on this issue?
Yeah, very important. I mean, of course, Keir Starmer has completely, betrayed the Palestinians, as we said, and other MPs have done so as well. This is, of course, not surprising. Reformers have always chosen the interests of the ruling class ahead of the interests of working people. This was the same thing, of course, with Tony Blair supporting the Iraq War. It's completely destroyed Iraq. And now we're seeing the same thing with Keir Starmer and completely destroying Palestine. Because they don't think about the interests, they don't care about the interests of working people, and therefore we should have no faith in them, but just trust.
Yahya has been traumatised after being emotionally abused through a series of punishments, treatment and discrimination at school. He was told he would not be allowed back to school with his coat. He would not be welcomed to the school, he was refused homework and denied an education. He has been unable to go back to the school since the 23rd of November. The separation from his friends, the disruption to his school routine, and the absence of his beloved class teacher, Miss Zaman, have also taken a toll on him. As parents, we are doing our best to provide him with the support he needs at home, attempting to establish a semblance of normality amidst the chaos. The resilience of our children is both inspiring and heartbreaking, and it highlights the importance of a compassionate response from those around us.
Can you tell us and explain the situation with young Yahya? What actually happened?
It's all kind of started around BBC Children in Need Day. So with Yahya, he's lost family members in Gaza. So on this day, he went into school with a sticker on which there was a small bow tie in Palestinian colours.
And I believe that Yahya is also of Palestinian descent.
That's right. My wife's side is from Gaza, and he's lost kind of members of his own family, distant relatives, and friends he's spoken to. So it was for him, it was a show of empathy to remember his dead family members.
What actually happened? What was the reaction of the school to Yahya wearing this lapel?
The sticker was actually removed first thing in the morning, and we received a call that same day that. The school were apolitical, we had breached policies, and it was not allowed.
I've seen some of the letters, and a lot of parents have raised this issue and concerns that in regards to the Ukraine crisis, the school actually had a position on that, which seemed to be apolitical, but on the Gaza situation, they've changed their policy to apolitical. Do you believe that there's an issue with that?
Oh, absolutely. They've clearly showed double standards.